Now, for more on this, we have with us Rustam Shah, Mohamnd, former ambassador to Afghanistan from Peshawar. Thank you very much for your time now. Sir, with the situation in Afghanistan in view, what does the Pentagon reaching out to Pakistan's military signify?
But if I could understand your question correctly, this is a moment when in a last-ditch effort, the Americans are trying to persuade the Taliban to begin serious negotiations aimed at a settlement in Afghanistan without resorting to war, attacks, assaults on Afghan army, Afghan installations. And for this purpose, Zalmay Khalilzad has now flown into Doha, and he is conducting negotiations with the Taliban representatives in Doha. But I believe the time is fast running out. And very soon, these negotiations perhaps would become irrelevant because we are being overtaken by events all the time. So this is the last opportunity. America wants Pakistan somehow pressure or persuade Taliban to abandon attacks and assaults on Afghan army and Afghan government installations. That is simply not going to happen. The Taliban, Pakistan have some influence, but Pakistan doesn't control their policy or their actions. Whenever their core or strategic interests are concerned, Taliban take their own decisions. And now, when they are in the middle of a battle, when in the last 6 days, as many as 6 provincial capitals have fallen to them, why should they now agree to a negotiated settlement when the odds are heavy in their favor? So I think unless the Americans pressure Ashraf Ghani rather than pressuring Pakistan or Taliban, the stalemate is going to continue, the battles are going to continue, and the people who are going to suffer most are the rank and file Afghans and civilians who are being displaced by hundreds of thousands every day. The Americans can pressure Ashraf Ghani to agree to make room for a transitional government. That is the only viable, practical, pragmatic solution for ending the conflict. And unless that is done, I think the fighting will continue.
So, looking forward to your comment on this. The Kabul government has been running a vicious anti-Pakistan campaign, blaming it for the failures of President Ashraf Ghani. Now, the United States has now categorically held President Ghani's government and the Afghan army of being inadequate in the fight against the Taliban, despite superior technology and numbers. So tell us, how badly has this statement by the United States dented this anti-Pakistan propaganda by the Afghan government?
Well, I think this is not unexpected. As the government becomes more vulnerable, more fragile, and the Taliban's string of victory continues, they would find scapegoats. And one obvious scapegoat is Pakistan and Pakistan's alleged support to Taliban. When can they, how can they prove or document any Pakistani supporters of the Taliban crossing over into Afghanistan, joining their ranks with the help of the Pakistan government? Can they prove any instance? Can they document any example of that? So I think these are just efforts to divert attention. This is not going to pay off. This is not going to work. Now the ground realities would dictate the outcome of the situation. The ground dynamics, the hard realities are that the Taliban are moving forward in northern Afghanistan, except for Mazar-e-Sharif. The entire northern Afghanistan is under their control. And soon they would launch very decisive battles for Kandahar, for Lashkar-Gah, and for Herat. Upon the outcome of those battles would depend how Afghanistan is going to shape up in the near future, in the next few weeks. So the coming few weeks, in my mind, in my judgment, are going to be very critical. If the Taliban momentum is halted, even then fighting would continue throughout the country. But if the Taliban momentum is unchecked and they go on to take control of more areas, I think then the inevitable is going to happen, and that is that the Taliban would have to then form a multi-ethnic, broad-based government that has the support of all factions and all ethnic groups. That is how the situation looks like now at this moment in time.
Right. We're also talking about propaganda, so we cannot miss out India. And India and Afghanistan are portraying as if Islamabad's ties with Washington have totally broken down. What is your take after repeated US top officials' calls to Pakistan's leadership for improving ties?
Well, I think India is no longer relevant in the current scheme of things. It is going to wait and see how the situation evolves and develops in Afghanistan. If the Taliban were to form a government, I'm sure the Indian government would try to work out some relationship with them, and I think the Taliban would also like to establish some relations with India. India is a big donor, investor. Then India also needs the Central Asian oil and gas resources through Afghanistan, and India has invested millions in Chabahar port that connects with Afghanistan. So India has interest, India has stakes also in a peaceful Afghanistan. Of course, with Pakistan, it's another story. But as far as Afghanistan's stability and peace is concerned, I think India also would be interested to protecting their investment and to promoting trade and commerce with Central Asia through a peaceful, stable Afghanistan.
Right. Now, Rustam Shah, Mohamnd, former ambassador to Afghanistan from Peshawar, thank you very much for talking to Indus News.